Morning. So first, thank you so much for yesterday. We especially want to thank the installation team that did so much discerning together about what the installation would even be. I mean, you guys, they started from literal scratch. Like, it's not like we have like a vineyard installation they were following. Like, we've never done this before in our church. And so they sought Jesus together, and he just led them. And they came up with a beautiful ceremony for us to install us as the leaders. And I can speak for myself personally. We didn't talk about it. I felt so lavished on yesterday. So thank you to everyone who is here. Thank you to the team that made that happen. And I'm going to have so many more mini bundt cakes today in celebration. So the Kona ice truck, anyway, it was so wonderful. So thank you. And yesterday was, like Aaron said, a lot more ceremonial and like official than we get here at the Vineyard. And so today, we're purposely going to just take it down a notch. We're going to come down and we just really felt drawn as a team to just be with you today. It's going to look a little different today because we just felt like we just wanted it to be casual and just like we're hanging out. And we're going to share some things from our hearts for all of us today. And then we're going to serve communion to everyone and have prayer ministry. And then we're going to end with just a worship song all together of celebration of just how good Jesus is all together. So, and then there may or may not be a dance party right after.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know, because when I am joyful in the Lord, I want to dance. So anyone who would like to join me, I shall give you instructions right after. So I think, oh yeah, and I'm supposed to pray for the offering. I'm supposed to pray for us and be like all official pastorally and everything. So let's pray and we'll get started. Oh, Father God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, I just thank you so much for this opportunity to be together, even just for the opportunity to be together and worship you freely and just as we want to, just as suits us, and just as is natural for us to worship you and tell you how much we love you all together. I just thank you for that privilege and that opportunity. And yeah, I know you're already here with us, Lord, but I pray that each one of us would have a felt sense of your presence with us. That we would be really attuned to what you want to speak to each one of us this morning. Yeah, even right now, would you begin opening us up to you, opening our ears and our hearts to receive what you have for us. And I pray for the kids downstairs and those that are watching them. I pray that they would also receive your blessings this morning. And I pray for the offering, Lord, gifts given from our hearts to carry forward your kingdom. I pray your blessing on it, that you would use it to advance your kingdom. And we just give you this time, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. And we always say, if you are new, the offering is for the members of our church. So if you are not a member, feel no compulsion to give. Give freely from your heart. Okay. That's all my stuff.
Cool. Well, hi, you guys. It's good to see everybody here. Hi, Lance. Hello. Yes, I sense there will be much harassment coming up. So, yep, it's all good. Well, yeah, it really, the goodness of God, the generosity of God, I think was, at least for me, fully on display and experienced yesterday. There were just so many individual components that were so good. Even things I knew about that were going to happen were even better than I thought. And then we got these T-shirts, which you haven't. I'm surprised you didn't mention that, but. So we're matching today. So except for Dannielle. Yes. So why is this the same? So this is the PLT is what it says if you can't see it, and that's the Pastoral Leadership Team. That was the name that we kind of collectively came up with, which sounds a lot like a sandwich. I don't know if it is or not, but it is now. So that's what it is. So it is. So it's pastrami. Lettuce and tomato. Okay, so and Aaron and Lindsay decided that it needed to be on a shirt, and described them as our priestly vestments for now. So yeah, so I don't know. Do we have to wear this every time we preach or anything, or what's the? If we're in the room together, that's like going to be a lot. But okay. So really this morning we just wanted to take some time to focus in on the goodness and the generosity of God. That's kind of how we just felt really led to start, and not just in like the kind of grand cosmic way, which is true and of course is really good, but in some really like specific and personal ways to us and for our church, and kind of just how we've experienced Him and why we're even here now, and the commitments we've made to that, and so. Yeah, and so to do that, without turning around to look at the back of the front of the sound booth, okay? Who can tell me what's written in front of the sound booth? What's written on the sound booth? Who can tell me without looking? There we go. Moving every person towards Jesus, okay? That's on there. You can, I know things fade into the background in your heads when you're walking around, but that's there because that is our mission statement. And it's a mission statement that we are excited to really carry on, to continue. It's a mission statement that really is a gift from God, and that's kind of one of the things we wanted to just kind of frame the morning around, because it's a gift. And I think maybe a lot of you might not know how that came about. It's been actually a little over 10 years ago. We were the pastoral council at the time, which was Kitty and Bill and David and myself. We were really in a season where we were trying to, like this church has always had kind of a sort of a felt specific calling that's always had to be unfolded over time. That's what it's felt like. It's like we kind of always carried this thing through David and Debbie in them, and it was always like, what is that exactly? We're always trying to articulate it better, and we spent a whole season, really thinking about our values and how those values get carried out, and then and we had this really long vision statement also that many of you, if you've been around for a while, you will remember. It was a great vision statement. It's still it's still 100% true. It was also like a lot of words, so it's just like so many words. All of the words were in it, and so we've been feeling like, hey, we feel drawn to having something that's shorter and that can kind of capture maybe more like specifically, what does God want us to be doing exactly in this church? And so we spent a long time trying to think about that and tossing things around. And then, as I remember the story, I don't know, Kitty's sitting right there, so maybe she can. I'm sure she has the best memory of it. So, if I'm saying anything wrong, it's not intentional. But you'll correct me from. Yes, exactly. That's what'll happen. But we often met back in those days. There's the mission statement, and then. We often met back then at a place. This is a restaurant. It's right across from Forest Park, across the highway from Forest Park, next to the Hampton Inn. This restaurant, ironically, has changed hands, I think about 5 times in the time since it opened. But I actually found this picture. I think this is what it was. Thank you, AI. It was Brew Hub. Ironic that we would meet at a place called Brew Hub, since we did not drink ever. at pastoral council meetings with David, with God as my witness, so. But we were there, and we had been talking about this, and I don't exactly remember how it came about, but in the course of the conversation and that process, this mission statement just emerged from Kitty. And these simple 5 words? Moving every person towards Jesus, right? 5 words. These simple 5 words just sort of emerged. And what I remember is the feeling of walking out of that restaurant. And, like after you've been working on something for a long time, and there's like, man, God just delivered this thing. Just like supernaturally just dropped this thing in our lap that just felt so right. So it felt so attuned to what we were trying to get at. It felt like, okay, Bill recognized that as a mission statement. There we go. Okay. So there we go. So it was shared discernment even back then. It was awesome. Yeah. And I just remember that feeling as a huge gift, and as I reflect on that, especially 10 years later, right? At the time, I was like, oh, I think this might actually stick. And we're right. It has. And it's a gift from the Lord. And so this morning, we just want to revisit that, refocus on that, really. And we're just going to ask this question: why do each of us want to move every person toward Jesus? And the 3 of us are just going to take turns kind of answering that, and Emily's going to start us. So.
Okay, so before I begin, I just want to say, kids, we're so excited that you are with us this morning. Kids and youth, any youth that are in here too, or if you're listening from the youth room, hear us. We're really glad that you're here this morning. And so we each got you a gift. So I know, yes, you, Fred, we got you a gift. So I'm going to reveal my gift is here. And you guys, all the kids and the youth can come up, and I have some drinks for you. I have some Capri Suns for you. Come on, you can get one. Come on up. One each. So yeah, we just wanted to give you things to tell you that we're really happy that you are here. Yes, get one. Yeah, there's plenty. And any grown-ups who want a Capri Sun, there's actually plenty. There's a lot. So come on, don't be shy. If you know you want one, don't be shy. You can get one. It's okay. Okay. You're welcome.
Waiting for the first adult to come up.
I know, they're still here. So anytime, if you're like, no, I really do want one, feel free to come up. Okay. So as I thought about this, why do I want to move every person toward Jesus? And I actually have like a million reasons. But oh, yes. Wow. Are you passing them out? He's gone. He's just here for the present. He's here for the Capri Sun this morning. That's it. All right. So, but when I really sat with it, this is what kind of summed it up for me. And it was Isaiah 55:9. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. And this is how I would sum up that verse, because this was the phrase that kept going through my head as, why do I want to move every person toward Jesus? Why is he so good? And it's because his way is better. This is why I'm convinced that every person, not just in this room, literally every person that I encounter would be better off closer to Jesus, because everything that God has invited me into, every time when he has invited me into his way, and I am able to say yes to his way, it is better. And it's not just better for other people, like I'm serving other people, so other people are benefiting. It is better for me. It's because Jesus is for me. He is for my good. And every yes that I have ever said to him, the small ones and the big ones, have led to my good. His way is always better. And it's really funny. I looked back because it reminded me, His Way is Better. It reminded me of a teaching that I did 5 years ago. And it was like a month after I was commissioned as pastor of equipping and operations. And it was really funny. I was like, oh my gosh, it was all over that teaching, His Way is Better. And so this is not new. Like, I already believed this before this 5 years. But I'm going to tell you, this 5 years really tested this belief. Is His way really better? I don't know. It was a toss-up at times, truly. When He started inviting us as a team into a new way of doing church, a new method of accomplishing our mission in this shared discernment, I had already been working at the church for like 15 years, and I was like pretty good at what I did. I was like pretty good at running a church the way I knew how to run a church. So learning a whole new way in front of people where I mostly failed a lot in front of people that I really respected, not my preference. Not what I wanted to do. Definitely not my way. And so I really had to lean in and trust God all over again about this. Is your way better? And it turns out He was right. But here are I thought about it. What were some of my ways that the last 5 years really pushed into for me? And one was my value for efficiency, the way I understood it, and a smooth running system. My desire to do things from a place of proficiency, of being really good at the things that I do. My overwhelming need to have a plan to follow at all times. And my insistence on getting us there quickly as I could. And I can tell you, how God worked in each of these things is like a whole story in and of themselves of His love for me. Because these are the things, or some of the things anyway, that I was gripping onto and I thought I needed in order to do this job, that I thought I would need to be able to say yes to being a co-lead pastor. There's no way I could do it without these things. And one by one, God came in and He invited me into a new way for me. Instead of my understanding of what efficiency was, He invited me into a kingdom view of efficiency, where what God does in us along the way is more valuable than what we can do for Him and what our output is. Instead of having to be proficient at everything I do, He invited me into His way of a growth mindset, as cliche as that sounds, where it is okay to try new things and not be good at them. And really, I hear that coming out of my mouth, and I cannot believe that I really believe that, and I do. He invited me to lay down my need for a plan to follow so that I could follow Him with each step. I'm not following a plan, I'm following Him each step that He gives me. And instead of chomping at the bit and always needing to solve every problem right as soon as I see it, He's inviting me and has invited me into the goodness and the kindness in His timeline, which is for me and for us. And it's pretty incredible. The end result of all of these yeses is I'm now no longer a person who needs that first list in order to say yes to being a co-lead pastor. He has changed me internally in these last 5 years, and He has produced something in me that wasn't there before. I am more patient than I used to be. I am more peaceful as I work. I have more joy in what I see God doing. I'm more secure. I'm less insistent on my way and my timing. And I yield to Jesus more quickly and easily than I ever thought would really be possible for me. And the most incredible thing about these last 5 years is that I wasn't just watching myself change, I was watching God do this to others that we were leading who were willing to try these new practices with us, and watching him form things in each of them as well. And I was like, it's proving it all over to me again, that his way is better. It's not just better for me. His way is better for every single person who is willing and able to say yes to those invitations that God is extending to you, even when they don't make sense and you think this is not going to work. How could this work? It's so counterintuitive. Every time he is for you. He has your good in mind. And that is why I want to move every person closer to him.
That's good. Thanks, Emily. And I've had the privilege of having a pretty well front row seat to all of that in the last 5 years, and I can vouch that is all very real. They're not just nice things to put on a PowerPoint. That is hard won, and Jesus has shown up in so many ways through that. So, so mine is actually similar in some ways, but maybe from a little bit of a different angle. And I think I'm going to do it. My gift, maybe in the middle or something, or at the end. I was thinking about the fact that our founding pastor David, I've had the honor of serving under him for 20 plus years in ministry work, and I was thinking about and we've talked a lot about how we really kind of are a bit of an odd pairing in many ways, David, if you listen to his stories. He's often very self-deprecating, but if you listen to his stories, you do get the sense, especially the ones that he doesn't tell from stage, like he's kind of a popular kid, he's probably kind of a popular guy. Some of his struggles included how to not date all the girls around him. I mean, it was just a really big struggle to, how do I really lovingly tell them no? So it's just. It's hard. So, whereas for me, I can say that I never had that problem. So, as it turns out, David will often say that he was really bad at school. So, but I was good at school. So that was the thing that I could hang my head on. You could say, and many people did, that I was a nerd. So, and so my gift is, we'll just do it now. Yeah, is. Let's see, we have to keep, this doesn't look like a body anymore. That's good. Okay. Apparently these are really good. I have not had these, but you kids, you can come on up now. These are gummy nerd clusters. Okay? And there's a lot of them. I do need to try one. Maybe I'll munch on one later. Okay. There we go. Yeah, Steve, it's okay. You could have gotten one even without your daughter. It's all right. One, yep. Yep. I was a certifiable nerd. Not even really a very good one. Like a lot of nerds have particular interests that actually end up being cool, And I just didn't really have that. But I was good at school though. I did get good grades. I fulfilled all the Asian stereotypes growing up, and did great with that. And so when I was growing up and sort of into high school, and as I'd really leaned in to that part of like, oh yeah, at least if nothing else, I'm good at school, I'm smart, right? I could kind of say that to myself. And what I learned in the course of time was like, I might be smart to some extent, but I'm really not that smart. And actually, there's always people who were a lot smarter than me, even in my own high school. And I actually have in my notes here from my co-pastors that I wasn't even it says Caleb was not even the top of his class. That's what they decided to make note of here. So, and I believe that's in reference to unlike someone else on the stage who was. So, I don't know. So that's what I have to deal with, just so you know. Pray for me. So, but it really in that season, in definitely in high school, especially later in high school, I just remember going through this this process of really understanding, man, if I'm hanging my hat of my identity and my security and my value and my worth on the basis of being smart, that's probably not going to work out very well. Because I wasn't the best, and I could just see that very clearly. And that's really what kind of opened my heart up to God. I mean, I'd been in church my whole life, and I'd known Jesus, but it's really what opened up my heart to Him in a different way and helped me to. And again, these are all things that would take a long time to say in story, but really helped me to give my life to Jesus fully and to commit to really following Him and to doing what I could to help others come to Him as well. And that just continued to evolve. And I thought about that because really, a little bit like Emily, is like, ironically, it's like these things that God gives you at different stages in life, He really brings them back around, and He shows them to you in new and better ways. And that's really been true for me when I think about this question, why right now do I want to move every person towards Jesus? And it really is because I have found, especially recently, that Jesus is smarter. He is the smartest. He's so good. And he's like, unlike some of those other kids that I knew back in the day who were smarter than me, he is not a jerk about it. He doesn't hold it over my head or make me feel bad about it. No, it's actually a really good thing. I'm incredibly grateful. And he shares that knowledge with me. It says in Colossians 2:3, Paul, in one of his famous parenthetical statements, it's not even the main point, but he drops the gem of, in Christ is hidden all of the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. All of the treasures of wisdom and knowledge are in Jesus. It's amazing. And so in these last few years, especially as we've entered into shared discernment more and more, I've just seen how much that is true. Whatever I thought was the best idea, or really often as time goes on and you mature, it turns out that you just get more aware of how maybe your ideas aren't that good, when earlier you thought they were great. And so instead of feeling anxiety and pressure and feeling like I had to get myself together or come up with the best answers, God has just really, really helped me to see again, afresh, anew, in deeper ways that no, He's smarter and He knows. He knows a lot of things that I don't know yet, and He is going to keep revealing what He needs to for me. And I think both in this, I was thinking about how that really applies, and for me, being able to understand the world is one thing that's important. And I know that's true to varying extents. I think some of us are better at just sort of being in the moment. I think both of these guys are really good at that. But I'm like, in what's in front of you, I'm like thinking about the world a lot, like things that maybe have nothing actually to do with me. But Jesus has been so good in these years of like just showing me, you know what, He really does. He reigns. Like, this is my Father's world. I chose that song yesterday for a reason. And I don't have to understand everything, certainly. I won't. But also, He can help me to see things in a different framing, in a different lens than the rest of the world is trying to get me to look at things. And so that's been really important. But also, on an even more personal level, what it's meant is that, for me, as someone who did kind of, hang his hat on achievement and performance, on responsibility also, it turns out that when the fact that Jesus is smarter means that I'm allowed to have needs. I'm allowed to actually feel them and articulate them, give them to Jesus, watch Him actually come into those in some really profound ways that I wouldn't have expected. Often I was afraid of articulating any need of any sort because I was convinced that no one would be able to meet them, right? But He has shown Himself to be faithful in that. And He's also shown in the course of being smarter that I can rest. I am able to actually rest in ways that I've never been able to before. And so he's just shown his goodness. We could go on and on, but he's shown his goodness in so many ways. But that's really what surfaced for me today, and is why, again, like Emily is saying, I'm convinced for every single person, every single one of you, clearly, and really everyone that we meet, everyone that we encounter in this world, man, coming closer to Jesus is so good and is what we always need continuously. So that's me. Here's Dannielle.
Thanks. That's good. All right, I also have a gift. But Pastor Caleb has some concerns about me handing out my gift. Because of Christmas Eve 2025, I'm on probation. Annie and I aren't allowed to hand out gifts till at the end of service. So I do have something for you guys, but you just have to come and get me at the very end. I'll be standing over here, or here, I'll come up here, and you can come get it. And I'm gonna love to hand them out to you. And if you're upset about it, you can talk to Pastor Caleb. But in the meantime, and this should surprise no one, what I'm gonna take out of here. You can't come to church today and give me a microphone and not expect me to talk about soccer. And so what I want to do as I'm talking, in lieu of having something to hand for you, I want to have you guys pass this around each other. I want every person to have at least a minute where you touch the soccer ball, hold it, look at it, check it out, and then hand it to your neighbor. And just go back and forth like this. I know, you just shut up. Just hold it, look at it. This is, hand it to your neighbor. You can roll it to your neighbor. You have to say nothing. You just have to pass it. But I want you to enjoy touching the soccer. And this is the soccer ball. And this might sound unbelievable in this day and age, but it really is true. I was an adult before I ever saw a soccer ball in real life. I had seen pictures of one, obviously, but it was different to touch one. It was harder than I thought it would be. Just felt different. And I was like, okay. And the reason why I had not touched a soccer ball or seen one in person is that my family was a football NASCAR family. That's all we did, football and NASCAR. I had heard about soccer. It just wasn't something like in my world. That was something like other people did maybe who didn't know about American football and soccer or in NASCAR. And then neither of my high schools that I attended had soccer teams. It just wasn't a thing where I was. And so it was very just out there. And I would not actually even know anything about soccer, probably wouldn't even touch the soccer ball if I hadn't met a friend in college who really loved soccer. He played soccer in high school, wasn't good enough to keep playing it after, but really just enjoyed playing it and really, really loved watching it. And so he would talk about soccer a lot. He would rearrange his life every 4 years around a very complicated schedule and watch 4 games in a day. And I was like, how are you watching 4 games in a day, and why would you do that? And he just loved it. He prioritized his life around something he really, really enjoyed. And I mostly made fun of him because it mystified me a little bit, didn't understand it. But because it was something I cared about, I was also a little curious. I was like, there's so much about him that I do respect and do like. There must be something of value in this thing that he's making. He was intellect. He loved to read these crazy philosophy books, but then he'd watch soccer. I was like, okay. And so I did. I started watching it, and I was surprised. No one had ever told me that soap operas and sports had a baby. And I was like, there's something here. And there's so much crying and rolling and jubilation and then you look at the fans. I was just like, what is this thing? And so I got sucked in for that. That was really what drew me in. I was like, okay, this is different. And mostly I would watch it for that and couldn't understand anything that was actually happening on the field. I I didn't know, and I didn't really care who won. But as I would watch more, like I started to understand a little bit more, became more invested. You spend time around something, you start catching on to more things about it. And I really started to enjoy it for its sport, for the athleticism, for like the teamwork that's really amazing that it takes to do what they do on a field, how much they support. When I could go on and will restrain myself from going on about all the things in soccer that really sucked me in. But I wouldn't have the joy that I have now, right? Like I do put on my calendar, literally is on my calendar, what is the game schedule of all the games? So I can see, well, what of the 4 games today do I get to play? Or watch. I mean, I play, I help. I so help. And this year in particular, there's this one game where this team I'd never heard of from Cape Verde played, and I was like, what is happening? It was like I was like, what? And it was like one of my funnest days this summer was watching that game with Reed, my son. And I wouldn't have had that moment of joy and just excitement and like awe and like, oh, the underdog and like these things if I hadn't had a friend who had shared with me something that he liked. I wouldn't have that. And so this reminds me from Psalm 34, which is written by King David, and he says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him." You see, my friend who introduced me to soccer, he did that just out of his genuine enjoyment of soccer. He wasn't forcing me. He wasn't going to unfriend me if I also didn't like it. He just was being himself, enjoying something he really enjoyed. And that pointed me towards something new. And the truth is, I wouldn't know Jesus without the same kind of thing happening. I wouldn't know Jesus without people having loved him, enjoyed him, encountered him, sharing with me him in their own unique ways, in their specific ways that he's encountered them, where they have known his goodness and said to me that he is something good in their life. And I have had personal encounters with Jesus. I can read the Bible. Those 2 things alone, maybe he's my personal delusion. Maybe I've made him up. There's something about having heard from all these other people, many of you, the way that you experience Jesus that helps me know him, helps point me toward him. And the truth is, and this got me really very excited as I pondered it, is like there are people who have pointed me toward Jesus that weren't even alive when I was born. If you think about all the people, like the line that would connect the dots to me to Jesus, they go all the way back to the garden. And that's nuts to me. That's nuts to me that there's this lineage and this complex network of humans who have made me understand Jesus the way I know him today. And all of that comes together and lets me know in a profound, real way, as real as the soccer ball. Where's the soccer ball now? Where has it traveled? There it is. As real as that soccer ball is Jesus. I want to move every person towards Jesus because Jesus is real. He's just real. And I know that he's real, not because I've had a bunch of personal encounters, because so many other people have. And they testify, they tell, they share those encounters. They share how they've known, and they're so specific to them. They're so unique to them. You're like, God is so real. Jesus is so big and real that he can do all these things. And yet they somehow are always the same. They're unique and specific, but they're somehow the same because his character remains the same throughout time. So this same God, because King David didn't get to know Jesus yet, that was so good that he's like, taste and see. He was hiding. People were trying to kill him. He was in a little cave when he was writing about this. He was in a rough spot, and yet he could declare, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. That quality of God is the same today, displayed through Jesus in the way we encounter him and taste and see that he is good. So, what is my why? Well, Jesus is real. and his realness is displayed through people. And so my specific why that I want to share today is that I want to move every person towards Jesus because I understand how someone else is going to understand his realness is through in part by me. Through in part by me, which is this is crazy. And there'll be people who get moved toward Jesus by me without me ever knowing it. Like I think about all the people that sent the Starks to the Midwest from California. They have played a part in moving me, and I'll never meet them. Oh, that's really cool. I don't know. That gets me excited. So, this is what I want you to start thinking about, and you maybe already are, is why do you want to move every person towards Jesus? Or maybe you just have one person. Maybe you're not sure, but I want you to be thinking about that. And some of you have been thinking, and you're thinking, hey, I can't do that. That feels like too much. And I just want to encourage you, honestly, from experience, that when you are able to name your why, like when you can articulate why you would want to move someone towards Jesus, it gets easier to share him. Because, like many of you, I hear you talking on Sundays, you share it with me, you talk about the book you're reading that you really like, or the movie you saw that you really like, or this recipe you tried. We freely talk about things we like because we know why we like them. We don't get all like, how should I tell Dannielle about this book? I want to make sure she hears it in just the right way. You just share it because you like it, right? I can find a way to talk about soccer real easily because I like it. It's just easy to share, and because I know the reasons why it's good. So when you know your specific to you reasons why Jesus is good, and you only need one, you can share that reason. And the other thing about knowing your why is that it gives your ear an ability to be attuned to what the Spirit is doing in any given moment. So when Caleb's hearing someone talking about really wishing there was a way that they could rest, how tired they are, he can go, oh, I like someone. I have tasted and seen something related to this, and I can share it in a way that is just natural and normal in a conversation. And Emily can do the same thing. When she sees someone weighed down by expectation to be efficient and proficient at everything, she's like, oh, I know that. I'm going to share something that has been a refuge for me as someone who has struggled that way. And it just comes out that way. And it's something we can all do. So I want everyone to just take a moment, and you don't have to close your eyes. You can use your little piece of paper that you were given to doodle on or write on. But I want you to really think about for a second. And we're just going to do we'll do 60 seconds. And I want you to think about, what have you known of Jesus? What way have you experienced him that would make you want to tell someone else about that? Makes you want to say, hey, I've tasted something good. Okay? Does that make sense what I'm asking? Okay. So we'll just have about a minute here. And then just go ahead and take a deep breath. And know that whether you got an answer or landed on something or not, all is well. Your presence here is just a gift, and Jesus is with you. And I can guarantee you he will help you identify your why. And we'll have some more time later that you can do that, for sure. But what I want to end on is that, yesterday during our commitment ceremony, the church also had commitments that they committed verbally to, and one of them was just participating in the mission together. That the mission isn't just for the three of us, the mission is for the whole body of this moving every person towards Jesus. And all of us hearing each other's whys will help move all of us towards Jesus. And even if your why is, I'm not sure if I have a why, having that, sharing that with someone else, that moves both of you towards Jesus just by saying it. And it will be a part of what he is doing. So don't hold back, even if you don't have what you think is the right why or anyone at all. And really, we want you to know that this is going to continue to be what we are doing, what God is inviting us to, and he's going to keep unfolding in his ever step-by-step way that Emily has said, how he's asking us here at VCC to be doing the work in the world, for the world to see his goodness and his glory and his beauty and his intelligence and his capability and his love. And we all get to be a part of that together, which is pretty amazing.